So, if you've been following any of the fitness industry news, you'll see that Derek from More Plates, More Dates, he just got his hands on some leaked emails, and he got, we were able to see Liver King's steroid stack. So, if you don't know who Liver King is, this video is going to be like a brief overview of who he is, a reaction to a couple parts of the video Derek made, and then just a quick synopsis. Derek made like an hour-long video, and if you want to go check that out on his channel, moreplatesmoredates.com. You know, I always like to shout out channels with less subscribers than me, help out the smaller guys, you know. So go check that out. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. So first, let's check out Liver King's Instagram. We'll give a brief overview of who he is and what he does, and then we'll look at the emails that Derek found and some that he actually released from his own email. Okay, so here's Liver King's Instagram. His main, basically his main message is to eat a lot of raw organ meat, you know, primarily liver, but he also talks about eating testicles. He shows himself working out, and he sells supplements, and essentially his supplements are, if you don't want to eat raw organ meat, you can buy his actual supplements, which are, you know, like a replacement for it. So let's check out some of his stuff. Here's a recent post.
What up, Primals? Liver King here. We just took down a Mongolian yak. And where do you think we're going to start? Of course, the liver first, because liver is king.
Yeah, so you can tell he puts on like this character. He shows off his physique a lot. I think he's pretty much shirtless in every video.
Primals need to know that Liver King spends $50,000 a year on bottled water. Why? Because I'm so much better than you.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he does kind of stunts like this.
No excuses. I brought my million.
And he's got his 9 tenants too. That's his main shtick, the 9 ancestral tenants. Yeah, so overall, you know, his message isn't that bad. I mean, it mainly revolves around getting outside, exercising, and eating what he considers to be healthy. I don't know if I personally would think it's healthy to primarily consume organ meat, but I think, you know, small amounts of it can be good.
Primals want to know if the liver boys eat just like Liver King. Well, here's your answer.
Got his kids eating liver here.
Liver King.
But, you know, where the main concern of people is with this guy is his claim to be natural. So, you know, clearly he's got a very exotic physique. I mean, he definitely looks juiced up, and he has gone on multiple podcasts and shows and talks about how he thinks how he is natural. He never admits to steroid use, and, you know, constantly says that he's never taken anything. And that, for many people, have a problem with it. So let's go to this is a section of his video of Derek's video, and let's check this out.
I'm taking. Right. And then here's something else. I was just joking around. I'd like to get your opinion on this. You know what I thought? So again, for the record, I've never taken steroids. Really? I'm thinking about doing it. Yeah. Ancestral Tenet 10 is have a little fucking fun. Right. And I'm like, you know what? If you've built this biological resilience, I always say have a little poison. I'll drink, I'll do mushrooms, I'll do shit like every Saturday I imbibe. I'm like, you know what? I'm healthy enough. If I want to do a cycle, I'm gonna do a cycle, and how much you want to bet I turn into the Incredible fucking Hulk? You're gonna be terrified. I want to be like this. Okay, you think this guy's on steroids, right? This is the guy who's on steroids. It's like if somebody has, let's say, a 700, testosterone, free testosterone, and if they're taking steroids and they want to get up to 1400 or 1500 or whatever it is, guess what? You can do the same thing with the 9 ancestral tenets. And if you do the 9 ancestral tenets and you live in this way over this amount of decades, you're going to be able to produce your highest and most dominant form.
So I think when people see someone with your physique, they look at it and they think there's something going on here. There's gear, there's steroids, there's performance-enhancing drugs. Talk to us about, whether you use performance-enhancing drugs or steroids or anything to get this physique.
Listen, I love this question. I've been getting this question since high school, and it's done more to lift the Liver King brand and message than any other question. So I hope you asking it now continues to do the same. The short answer is no. I don't touch this stuff. But here's the deal. Isn't it just fucked up that a muscular, lean man has to justify his level of fitness?
So yeah, that's pretty much how he responds to it. There's a flat out no to everything. I don't use any juice, nothing like that. When it's clearly quite obvious from his physique that the guy's probably on something. The big problem with this is when you're selling something, you're selling supplements or you're selling any kind of service relating to, exercising, getting in shape, anything in the fitness industry. If you lie about your steroid usage and you claim that you're natural, then it might give people unrealistic expectations about what your products or services can do for them, and it's going to essentially, you're selling something that they can't attain without using exogenous hormones, steroids, growth hormone, etc. So that's the big issue. I don't think anyone really cares that the guy does steroids because a lot of people do steroids, but the big issue is that he lies and sells products and services that are involved in this industry, and he just flat out lies about it. So now this is where it gets interesting. Pretty much anybody can look at the guy and say, okay, yeah, clearly the guy juices. I don't really need someone else to tell me that. But Derek got his hands on some emails. Okay, so here Derek gets into his actual steroid cycle. If you want, go watch the entire video. I'm not going to go over every single little thing, but here we'll play a couple clips of what he's taking. The main takeaway is he takes a shitload of growth hormone, and Derek goes into it that his IGF levels are actually really low in his bloodstream. I don't really understand exactly how that works and what it is. Derek says he's going to make a whole video about, he's going to analyze his blood work and get into the reason and the mechanisms behind this. But the guy says that he takes, it ends up being that he takes 10 IUs a day, which is a lot. 2 IUs is your replacement dose, more or less, or a little bit over your replacement dose, what you produce naturally. So let's get into this.
Pharmacy-grade human growth hormone. The brand, it is created by the pharmaceutical company Sandoz, I believe it is. The 5.8 milligram vials from Empower Pharmacy, $11,000 per month for my new dose, which is 4 vials per week, 16 vials per month. So these 5.8 milligram vials, he's using 4 vials per week, 16 vials per month. What is that in international units? Most of you guys are probably more familiar with HGH dosages in international units. In general, for somatropin, recombinant, HGH, 1 milligram equals 3 international units. So for each 5.8 milligram vial of Omnitrope, that has the equivalent of approximately 17.4 IU somatropin. So he mentioned 4 vials per week, 16 vials a month. I believe he mentioned in his email here, 16 vials a month. So that is going to be roughly 69.6 international units of recombinant human growth hormone per week, which is roughly 10 international units per day, which is like a fucking really, really high, super expensive dosage that, to be honest, I know bodybuilders who compete at the Open Mr. Olympia who use less pharma grade GH than that. Like that's how high of a dose that actually is. So he says,
yeah, and people have talked. I've heard different numbers. People throwing out with how much this would cost. Someone I've heard as low as like 5 to 6, 7,000 a month, and then up to somewhere around 15,000 a month. I don't know exactly how much GH costs, but I know GH is very expensive, and to take that much it has to be costing a shitload of money. So here he says in the email, $11,000 per month for my new dose, which is 4 vials a week. So he's spending $11K just on HGH. And you can go read all this stuff. You can go watch the long video, but he talks about how his IGF levels are low, and he's considering even taking more. So
I don't know if this shit is grossly underdosed or what, but I've been taking 2 vials per week, and my IGF is only at 139. See recent labs below. My doctor told me that I could double it in an effort to get to the upper 200s, low 300s. She thinks I could be a hyper non-responder. I'm wondering if taking a fuckload of other peptides could be confounding the results and possibly interfering with the efficacy. For instance, here's what I'm currently taking. So here's this stack. IGF-1 LR3, presumably. Been taking this for a year. CJC with IMAP. Been taking this for a year. So here, I'm assuming he's talking about CJC 1295 drug affinity complex. Like there is a difference between, there's mod GRF 1-29, which is like a shorter acting. We'll get into it later as far as like what GHRPs are, GHRHs, etc. But this is like a peptide combination, CJC 1295 with DAC. I'm assuming he's talking about with ipamorelin. I'm assuming, not IMAP. I'm sure he's just hastily writing this, hence why there's like missing shit. But CJC with IPAM is a very, very common combination. Been taking this for a year. Ibutamoren, also known as MK677, orally active.
yeah, that's a very common SARM. IGF-1, that's obviously peptide. I have no idea what the second thing is. And then MK677 is a very common SARM that a lot of guys take. It's kind of came onto the scene a few years ago.
GH secretagogue and ghrelin receptor agonist. Been taking this for 2 months. Omnitrope, human growth hormone pharma grade. Been taking this for 6.
That's the pharmaceutical name, the brand name for the GH she's taking.
6 weeks. Testosterone cypionate, 0.6 cc per week. Cruise dose, so that, presumably would be 120 milligrams per week if you do 0.6 times 1 with a 200 milligram per milliliter concentration. 120 milligrams per week of test sip is not that high. Deca, nandrolone decanoate, 0.6 cc per week. Been taking this for 3 weeks, so 3 weeks of 120 milligrams per week. Pharma grade, of course. Winstrol, 50 milligrams a day. Just started this, been taking this for 3 weeks, and this is all presumably pharma grade through the pharmacy mentioned and having a legitimate prescription. I know it to be the case that all of these are prescribable, even with.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is that while he's taking a shitload of GH, his test is pretty low. So it could be anywhere from 120 milligrams to 150 milligrams a week, depending on how the vial of testosterone is dosed. And that's the same thing with the Deca. Like the sports TRT dose is like 200 milligrams a week of testosterone. So he's taking less than that. And the Deca is very low too. He says it's a cruise dose, so I'm guessing he's probably done more in the past. But this is just, it's low. And then it's very strange that he would add in 50 milligrams of Winstrol a day. It seems like you could get, Winstrol has a lot of effects on your liver, which is ironic. And it seems like you get away with doing something else that's an injectable that has less effects on your organ health. So it's kind of a strange cycle, especially with the high amount of GH that he's taking. So it's definitely a little interesting.
Winstrol, which sounds fucking baffling, and does it actually have like a clinical application that makes sense? Very rarely, but presumably he has a script for it. I'm doubting he's using UGL Winstrol just randomly as his choice of compound. There are fewer compounds to choose from. Like, you're not going to get Trenbolone through a fucking pharmacy, but, Winstrol, one of the available orals that presumably he arrived on as the one to add in. So anyways, he is on all this stuff. My blood sugar every morning, it's around.
Okay, so I'm not going to play the rest of his video. There's one other interesting part where you can look at this in the video. Liver King, or his associate, probably his assistant or secretary or whatever, actually emailed Derek like a year ago or 2 years ago, before he made his main social media push, and asked him for a consultation to ask him basically what's going on with his low IGF-1 levels or IGF levels. And Derek didn't see the email until this is what Derek says. He says, I didn't see the email until I was making this video, and I was looking at my email past, and I put in the email into the search bar, and the old email came up. So the guy had requested a consultation with Derek, and Derek goes through, and he goes and shows the email and reads it, and kind of outs him too. So it's like an extra bit of evidence beyond what this leaked email is, and it confirms that the language is very similar, the heading is very similar, everything about the email is they match up. And a lot of people are saying that it's wrong for Derek to do it. It's wrong for him to release confidential information. And legally speaking, it's not, because he's not a doctor and the guy never paid him. He never signed an agreement. But I think one thing Derek would want to consider is he is an owner and a representative of Merrick Health, which is a TRT clinic he runs, hormone clinic. And I don't think it's a good look for him to be releasing confidential emails that someone sent to him, trying to be confidential, and he's now releasing them out into the public. This other email that he got is Liver King's correspondence with some bodybuilding coach, and the guy outed him, which is, definitely interesting. So this guy's basically getting outed from all angles. The main takeaway is just not to trust this guy, Liver King. He's clearly a liar, a fraud. He lies to his fans. He makes up this nonsense about him being natural. He lies to everybody, and it's all in order to push more supplements. Which, hey, a lot of guys do it in the fitness industry. Mike O'Hearn, a lot of guys will claim natural and just lie to people. So, yeah, watch out for these kind of guys. Don't trust people that say things that are too good to be true. And use your brain. I will say a lot of the stuff he does preach is actually positive. He's telling people to work out. He's telling people to get outdoors, spend time with their family. That's good. But lying to people over and over again, definitely not great. So, all right, guys, that about wraps it up. Hope you all have a good day, and see you later. Catch you on the next one.